Hi, 4A and 4B. It's Miss Dearie from a distance, and it is Tuesday, and we're going to go through your social studies lesson for today. So, last night, you guys should have finished reading that lesson, and you had those 3 vocabulary words to do for homework. There were just 3, so that should have been easy enough to handle. And reading through the lesson was very important. So hopefully you took your time going through that lesson, reading through it carefully. We're going to go through the definitions right now just to make sure that you have a good handle on those. So poverty means being poor. And remember we talked about the people in the fancy clothes. They weren't really rich and wealthy people. They were poor, but they had dignity, and it was important to them that they presented themselves in a nice manner. And that's something that sometimes is a little lacking today, in Miss Dearie's opinion, but that's something for us to keep in mind. The next vocabulary word was prejudice. Prejudice. It's an unfair feeling of hatred or dislike for a group of people because of their background, race, or religion. And some people, especially immigrants who came to the United States for the ability to be free, unfortunately experienced that very thing. And that's something that some people are still working through today. But we need to always remember that we need to accept everyone. And that truly, who among us is to judge? Well, that would be God, right? But we need to always make sure that we treat others the way that we would like to be treated. And then we have motto. A motto is a saying chosen to express the ideals of a nation, a state, or a group. And for the United States of America, our motto translates to mean out of many, one. So out of all of us who are all so very different, we together are one thing, and that is Americans. Out of many, one. And that's our motto. So let's talk about the lesson review on page 443, because that's what you guys are going to be working on today. So let's go through these lesson review questions. We're not going to do the focus skill, but I want to talk about it with you, but you don't have to do this focus skill. It says, what situations have caused many people to immigrate to the United States over the years? Well, poverty, just talked about that, lack of freedom, or opportunity. America has always been the land of opportunities, so many opportunities for so many people, and people have been brave, so very brave. Think about how much courage it takes to leave your home, to leave everything you've ever known and go to a brand new place and take your family there without any idea of what's going to happen or how it's going to be. That is bravery. And that's what these people throughout history have done to make their way to America. Unless they were Native American, someone in their family, someone in your family, someone in my family came from another place to live here. And they showed that enormous amount of courage that we were just talking about. So let's look at number 1 on the lesson review, because you're going to be doing numbers 1 through 5 on the lesson review in your notebook. Remember, we're going to use headings and have it all proper and nice and neat. We don't have to write the question, but we do need to write our answers in complete sentences. You do not need to restate, and we're doing 1 through 5. So number 1, why are there so many different ways of life in the United States? Number 2, name a synonym. Synonym is same. Antonym is opposite. So we're naming a synonym and an antonym for the term poverty. So a word that means the same as poverty and a word that is different than poverty in a sentence form. So we can say a synonym for poverty is blank. An antonym for poverty is blank. Number 3, which are the 2 fastest growing states in the United States today? So we're going to answer this question based upon when our book was published. And then tomorrow we'll talk about if those 2 states are truly still the 2 fastest growing states in the United States as of today. And then when that census data comes in from this 2020 census, it might change again. So we're going to just refer back to the information that we have in the book to answer that question. Number 4, what holidays that came from other places are celebrated in the United States? We just had a big holiday celebration in Louisiana a couple of weeks ago that we celebrate here that came from somewhere else. What was that? So think about, try to come up with 3 in sentence form. Think about 3. There was one just last week that comes from another country as well. So think about those. You don't have to write those, but those are just some things to get your mind thinking. Number 5, what hopes do you think immigrants today share with immigrants of the past? So why would people today still want to come to the United States of America? What do you think they have in common with immigrants who came to the United States of America in the past? So that's going to be something that I want you to take a little bit of time thinking about and come up with a really good, thoughtful answer for that one, because that's important. Okay, and we are not going to be doing the performance. So we don't have to worry about the performance. So we'll answer 1 through 5 in complete sentences, no need to restate, in our notebook with our proper, beautiful heading. Now let's look in our workbook, because we're going to talk about the workbook page that you guys are going to do, which is page 116. So let's flip. I'm going to flip in my workbook. I actually don't have my workbook here, so I'm using the little bitty teeny tiny workbook pages that I'm looking at. Little teeny tiny workbook pages. That's why I have my glasses on so I can see. So it says many places, people, and ways. You guys can be writing your heading on this while I am sort of leading you through this, but don't start. Remember, don't ever start before I'm ready for you to start. So it says use the information in the table and bar graph to answer the questions that follow. So we have people in the United States in 2000. Ancestry means where their ancestors came from. Okay, do we see the root word is the same? We see that they're in the same word family, ancestors and ancestry. And then we see the population of people. It's very varied, right? Some are really, really, really big numbers, and some are still big, but smaller in comparison. And then we have where Americans live. Look at where we live. And look at the population. It's interesting, right? Something to think about. Why do you think that is? So what you'll do on page 116 is just fill in those blanks. There's no need to write in complete sentences on this. These are just a little short answer. Remember, we always kind of use the blank as a guide. If we have little tiny blanks, we know they're expecting little tiny answers. If we have longer blanks, we know they're expecting longer answers. So we're going to go with little tiny answers that are correct and thoughtful, but you don't have to write in complete sentences for this. And we're going to review now our Middle Atlantic states, capitals, abbreviations, and locations. I'm going to go through these in the order that I gave them to you so that if y'all are following along with me, we are being organized. So we have Dover. What's Dover the capital of? Delaware. Remember, Delaware has 2 E's and 2 A's. D-E-L-A-W-A-R-E. And then our abbreviation is D-E. Then we have Trenton. Trenton, New Jersey, N-J. That is followed by Harrisburg, PA, Pennsylvania, and it is Pennsylvania. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, PA, and then we have Albany, New York, NY. We've talked many times about the fact that the most popular or famous or even most populated city in a state is not necessarily the capital of the state, right? So, what do we think about when we think of New York? New York City. Is that the capital? It is not. What is the capital? Albany. What do we think about when we think of Pennsylvania? Philadelphia. Or maybe Pittsburgh? Steelers fans, maybe. But is that the capital? No. What about Philadelphia? It's not. What is it? It's Harrisburg. So we have to, what about Louisiana, right? New Orleans. Is that the capital? Once upon a time, yes. Is it still? No, it is not. What has it been for years and years and years? Baton Rouge. So we need to remember that the capital is not always the most popular or famous city for every state. So just to recap, what you guys need to do for me now is your lesson review, 443, 1 through 5, complete sentences, don't restate. Then we're going to do workbook 116. Then you're going to review Middle Atlantic states. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm signing off, and I'm going to go find out the answers for today's 2 fastest growing states so I can tell you tomorrow. Bye 4A and 4B. You know where to find me if you need me. Miss Dearie from a distance signing off. See you tomorrow. I'm doing it again. I'm pressing the wrong button for A and 4B. We're going to figure this out together. Goodbye, guys.